Welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show, seen Wednesdays on the Sports Collectors Daily Facebook page and the Great American Collectibles Facebook page. You can also listen to us on iHeartRadio, Pandora, and Spotify. The Great American Collectibles Show is brought to you by the National Sports Collectors Convention and Sports Collectors Daily. Tonight's headlines are brought to you by Sports Collectors Daily. For all of your hobby news, features, and more, go to sportscollectorsdaily.com. And now your host, Tom Zappala.
Okay, good point. Okay, we are back. And we are joined by three more heavyweights. How are you, sir? What can I do for you? Bobby Orr's nephew said to show this to me. We're going to take a look at... Oh, yeah, I want to talk about this. All right, we've got three more heavyweights here. Mo, Larry, and Curly. No, we've got... You guys just educated me. He said it's REA. Don't say REA auctions because you're saying auctions twice.
It's like
I never realized that.
ATM machine.
That's right? REA, Kevin, Brian, I never knew that. Brian Dwyer, Joe Orlando from Heritage Auctions, Executive Vice President, and the Phantom, Mike Heffner from Leland's. Trying to get a hold of this guy is like trying to get a hold of Trump.
But that's only you, Tom. It's only you.
You guys can stand, sit. We're going to be all over the place today. We've got some more giveaways. Stan, we're going to talk about this because growing up as a kid, I watched every Davy Crockett episode with Fess Parker. Every one. And I'll tell you what, when I was probably about 7, and the last scene, if you recall, of Davy Crockett, he's at the top of the Alamo, and the army is climbing up the ladders, right? I used to do that with my brother. I'd be standing on the couch with a broom, and he'd try to grab me, and I'd hit him in the head with the broom. He'd go down, get up again, hit him in the head with the broom. It was part of my life. Thank you, Stan. Anyway, nice to see you guys. Rick, we're going to share a mic. Is that okay? No. All right. I want to get your opinion. We were just talking about this, that I don't want to say that I feel like that it's passing me by, but the technology here has been off the charts. You know, we're looking at that screen over there. I mean, what's going on here with the technology? I think it's good, but quite frankly, and Hef, I'm going to start with you because you're an old vintage guy. I don't really understand a lot of it. What are your thoughts on the technology that's in this building today, this weekend?
Well, to me, it's mind-boggling. I could barely find my way back here because I use the GPS for everything, and it wouldn't work in here. But, it's... And why do you have to stand, Rico?
He can't sit. Why don't you grab his seat? He does. Oh, he's got a bad back. I've got a bad knee. He's got a bad...
I think the technology, it's mostly being used if you look around for the modern stuff, but I think there's a place for technology even in the older stuff, because I was just talking about something with someone. Let's take into consideration in the vintage market we have photo matching, for instance, and photo matching is something that is a rarely new phenomenon, but none of the companies that do it are utilizing AI for doing photo matching, whereas in the future they probably will be. So I think we see it in the modern field, all this technology, which I don't understand. So don't even ask me about that. But I think in the vintage market, even with autographs, and Joe knows and Brian knows, there's systems being developed to even grade cards without human touch or eyes. So the technology that's here does not surprise me at all. I would expect this in today's world.
Joe, you've seen it all from day one. Same thing.
Sure. So I think, is this working, by the way? You can hear me?
Yeah, you can hear Joe, right?
Yeah. So I think what you were kind of referring to earlier has a lot to do with the presentation of the booths here. And
the visuals.
I was talking to some veterans yesterday, and, if you go back in time, 5-10 years ago, you could walk into the National, and it was much flatter, if that makes sense. You could see for a long distance.
I can see flatter.
No, seriously.
That's a good description.
But now, because the industry has exploded the last few years, look, there's a lot of money coming into the hobby, and people are competing for attention. So look, everyone is sparing no expense to draw attention to whether it's a startup, whether it's an established company. You didn't see that 5-10 years ago. Now, I mean, you just look around the room, and the exhibitors here are spending a lot more money and effort on presentation of their booths. So,
Brian?
I mean, I think it's a good reminder at just how big the hobby is. As many people that we have here in this room, there's millions more at home that are counting on the videos that are streaming from the floor and shows like this to tell them what's going on here. So, we look at the 100,000 people that are here this week, but it's a good reminder when you see all these cameras of just how many people are enjoying the show from wherever they are. I mean, worldwide.
Last night we were amazed, staying at the hotel, and the lobby of the hotel, they had to be 150 to 200 young adults bartering, trading. I mean, it was like, are you kidding me? I'm talking, they had their briefcases. I'm talking 15-year-old kids, 13-year-old kids, 25-year-old kids. One kid walked by me, and he had a briefcase. And we were having dinner. And I asked him, I said, hey, what do you got in the briefcase? Money. That's what he said, money. He says, I'm sold out. I said, how much did you make today? He says, $800. The kid couldn't have been 15 years old. It was just right? It was unbelievable. All right, listen, we have another giveaway. This one here, you like this one?
Yes. Yeah, that's after they hit the 40 home runs. They took the picture with a bat. All the rest of them with gloves.
Wait a second. Wasn't there a time when there's one card of you that really is not because you did something to the guy taking the picture?
Yeah, well, yeah, you don't want to show that. You're going to scare kids.
One of the photographers for Tops went to take Rico's picture, and Rico goosed him. So as a result...
Not just me. The other guys did it, too. Right. What do you think I am?
So as a result, you should see the picture that he used for Rico's card. It's absolutely hysterical. Okay, this is an easy one. This is a trivia question. Where is it? Okay. Very easy question. This is for a 1972 Rico Petrocelli signed card, graded authentic. Really? Hands got to go up quick because it's an easy question. Who holds the most batting titles in MLB history? Wow, you're killing me here. Ty Cobb, right here, sir. Ty Cobb, congratulations. See, there's a vintage guy.
Yep.
Quite frankly, you look like you played with him.
Hey, give me my baby.
That's right. Here you go. Thank you, Stan. All right, so I want to ask this. You had a question for them, did you? Or not?
Well, with all the technology and the venue is getting larger and larger because it's a great, great hobby. I'm serious. When I first started, the industry wasn't, and don't be a wise guy and say I started with Babe Ruth. But, yeah, and it's gotten so great now. And we love to see families, the kids with the families, or the other kids that you talked about in the hotel. It's great. And up here you got three of the greatest minds in this business. I'm serious. Listen to them. But I wanted to know. What are you doing? Oh, yeah. Where does it go from here? This is, in your opinion, where does it go from here? You get bigger venues. They're going to get a lot more people, right? I think. So where the industry is great.
That was actually a good question. Mike, where does it go from here?
Well, I mean, hopefully it keeps growing from here because, I was around, I'm a dinosaur, and I was around in 1990, 91 when it looked the same way as it does today. Back then we got crowds like this, and there was a wave that we rode, and then the wave crested and it came down, and now we're back to where we were in 1990, 1991, and I love to see it. But I just hope that it continues, and I think it will continue. I think it will get bigger, and it's going to require maybe more shows, maybe a bigger show, maybe 2 nationals a year, something like that to really accommodate the people that are here. But like Rico said, I just love the fact that we have all these kids, all these families, because the kids that are collecting modern today will be the kids that are collecting vintage tomorrow. And, whether they start in vintage or they end up there, it doesn't matter. They're all enjoying themselves. They're having a great time. And, we love to see it.
Joe?
Yeah, I'd like to pick up on something, Mike said. He mentioned that maybe we need another big show. I don't think there's any question when you see the crowd last year and the crowd this year. If you look at other collectible fields, so for example, in the coin market, when I was at Collectors, we had PCGS, which was the #1 coin grading service. They basically have 2 major shows, one in the winter, one in the summer, and they're both equally sized. So they basically have 2 nationals.
All right, so let me ask you this question, just to stay on that point for a minute. So what do you think about, Heff, you mentioned even maybe 3 shows. What do you think about a West Coast show, like a Chicago show and an East Coast show? Would that work, or does it not work, something like that?
I kind of like the idea, again, it's just my opinion, I like the idea of something more central. So when we go, Chicago, because that way everyone can get there. It's easy, it's by the airport, there's, it's convenient.
I kind of agree with you.
So I think if we make it convenient for hobbyists, we'll get more participation. The last couple of years, of course, it's been off the charts.
By the way, just a reminder, after the show, Rico is going to be signing at the TriStar area. Unfortunately, people have asked him to sign now, and he can't because they won't let him, obviously.
I'm going to be signing Carl Yastrzemski's name.
Yeah, he'll be forging Yaz's name. And by the way, Tom Ruggie is here. Tom's going to be joining us in a little while. Nice to see you, Tom. All right, Brian, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I agree with what these guys said. The hobby just continues to grow. This is my 19th national, even though I'm much younger than these guys. But the way that I've seen it grow is tremendous. And you've got kids, you've got families. And what I'm hearing, too, is like these smaller shows are making a resurgence, which is nice. We've got a couple local shows in New Jersey that are popping up. There's a Charlotte show that's going to be starting here soon. So it's nice to see that there's this enthusiasm.
All right, so I'm going to ask the 3 of you guys a question. This guy here is a big modern promoter, Rico, even though he's 112 years old. Question here is that you guys are vintage guys. Brian, I know you have always been a little more on the edge, leaning, when we talk about modern versus vintage, you've always been more like down the middle. You're a vintage guy, but you get it. You 2 guys are dinosaurs. No, I'm kidding. No, but you 2 guys, I'm like you, Mike. I'm like you. You guys are vintage guys. I know you're not either, Joe. You're down the middle. But I'm amazed at what I'm seeing. As I mentioned, last night, we were in the lobby. And you know what they were trading? You know what the big go-to cards were? And again, this is stuff that has gotten past me. Signed, modern baseball cards.
This could be the longest question I've ever seen.
Signed modern cards. I mean, that's what they were trading. Judge, whether it be basketball, Steph Curry, they had to be signed, and they're going back and forth. Are you guys seeing that? Now, obviously, Leland, you're not seeing a lot of it, are you?
Well, we are, we have to be involved with new cards because it's such a big segment of the hobby now. We'd be foolish for not handling them. Do I collect them myself? I'm ashamed to say that I actually do. I can totally relate to the people that are out there ripping packs because I get in trouble all the time from my wife because I order boxes of wrestling cards on eBay and I sit there and I open them and I look for the Roman Reigns autographed card. So I can totally understand why people are doing this. It's fun, and it's like playing the lottery. People get things of great value through these boxes, although the chances are not that great of getting them. And I understand it from that perspective because I do love opening boxes. There is a thrill in it. And I do appreciate the new wrestling cards. I just haven't gotten into the new baseball stuff. I don't know if I ever will.
By the way, we're going to do a wrestling show. because
We have
I
to.
think really, I think in this whole hobby, I think I'm right up with you with my love, and you too, actually, right? Were you a big wrestling fan or not? Are you a boxing guy? You're a boxing guy. He won't, right? He won't admit it. Joe, what are your thoughts on what we just talked about?
Yeah, so I can remember back in my old PSA days when we started to slab, to encapsulate signed trading cards. And at first it was a slow ramp up because you have to remember, you go back to the 1980s, it was largely taboo. There was a card purist did not want autographs on their cards. But then into the 1990s, the manufacturers started to introduce autographed cards into the product. And I think that's a big part of why it's so accepted today, both in modern and in vintage, because they kept putting it in the product. It became the chase cards. It became the more valuable cards. And now today, I mean, it's one of the hottest areas of the market, period. Not just modern, but now vintage signed trading cards have become incredibly popular. So I think it's just sort of, it's completely changed in terms of the hobby sentiment overall. But the modern product, it's a really good example of how modern product can actually end up helping vintage collectibles.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. Brian?
Yeah, I mean, one of the best things about the National is getting exposed to stuff that you don't collect or that you don't know or you don't see. And I think about myself. I don't collect today what I collected when I was 14 years old. But coming to these shows, my tastes change, they evolve, I get exposed to things. So I love that we all commingle at a show like this.
Good. All right, listen, we have another giveaway. He's giving out these little cheap tension balls. Whatever you call them. They're tension balls. Oh, we got plenty of them. By the way, we have more of them, don't we? Yeah. Can we have them when you get a chance? Oh, do you have them?
It looks like me now.
All right, this is a giveaway. I don't know, but can I give this something away here? All right. I asked this question. By the way, here's the giveaway. This is a book that Ellen and I wrote for Ken Kendrick from the Arizona Diamondbacks. It's called The Diamondback Collections, 50 of the Greatest Cards in Sports Collecting History. And we won the Independent Publishers Bronze Medal, and it's signed. This is not an easy question. How many people, first of all, how many vintage people are sitting out here? Are there any one vintage guy? Oh, just a couple, because this is a tough question. You ready? Anybody know anything about the T206 collection? I'll repeat the question. Raise your hand. Does anybody know anything about the T206? Two people. This is going to go really well. I can see this coming now. All right. Then I'll move into an easier question. What T206, you guys have to know this. If you don't, I'm going to never let you down. What T206 player owned, now you know today in baseball, every single baseball that they use in a game is rubbed in a mud to take the sheen off of the baseball. A T206 player discovered a mud, whatever you call it, in the Delaware River. His family still owns that company today, and every ball is rubbed in that powdered mud, whatever you want to call it. Who was the T206 player? Who? Wrong. Anybody else? No, you're out. Come on. We'll give you the answer, but the name of his company still exists today. Anybody know? All right, we're gonna go to our expert, Brian Dwyer. Lena Blackburn. Right. Brian, who was it?
Lena Blackburn.
Lena Blackburn. Now, Lena Blackburn was. What do you say?
He's saying his real name is Russ. Let's go to Wikipedia.
His real name was Russ. Prove it and you win it. Russ Blackburn? If his name was Russ, you get it. Fair enough?
Is it not in your book? You didn't.
No. Could be Russ Nixon. This man right here. Hey, you win. Congratulations. You win it. Fair. That was good. I didn't know that. Did you know that? You didn't even know who Lena Blackburn was, did you?
I did.
You did. All right. We're going to take a quick break. Joe is in the house. Mike is in the house. And Brian is in the house. And by a quick break, literally, we mean a quick break because this is going to be aired nationwide, but the producers edit in the commercials. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Since 1996, Brian Drent and the staff at Denver's Mile High Card Company have led the charge in the collectibles hobby. Mile High is a full-service dealer specializing in buying and selling cards and offers a competitive consignment program for all collectors. Whether it be their computerized want list service, appraisals, or auction services, Mile High has it all. If you've been searching for a company with a selection of high-grade vintage 1888 to 1970 baseball cards and memorabilia that shares your passion, aim high, Mile High. Go to milehighcardco.com or call 303-840-2784 for more information.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
Let's go!
Hi everyone, this is Rico Petrocelli. JustCollect.com, a leader in the vintage sports card industry, is giving free appraisals on your vintage cards. They'll evaluate your collection for free and let you know the value of it at no cost and no obligation. If you're ready to sell, JustCollect.com will offer you industry-leading prices to buy your card collection. To begin your free baseball card appraisal, visit JustCollect.com or call them at 732-828-2261. That's JustCollect.com for your free vintage card appraisals and top buy prices for your cards. Check out JustCollect.com today.
With record-breaking sales from everything from the white border T206 Honus Wagner for $3.12 million to some great items that support the Jackie Robinson Foundation, Golden Auctions has set the highest standards for the finest in sports cards, autographs, and game-used memorabilia. We're always accepting consignments of high-end premium sports treasures or entire collections. Please register for our next auction and bid now at goldenauctions.com. That's golden with an I. We at Golden Auctions are committed to providing unsurpassed customer service for the discriminating collector. That's exactly why we're the leader in the industry. Visit goldenauctions.com or call 856-767-8550. Remember, Golden Auctions. We don't just break records, we shatter them.
This is Brian Drent, president of Mile High Card Company. Is your sports card and memorabilia collection properly insured? For easily replaced personal property, homeowners insurance is all most people need. But for prized possessions that you may have spent a lifetime collecting, it doesn't go nearly far enough. Collectables Insurance Services has been insuring for over 50 years. They offer a full range of protection and a $0 deductible at an affordable rate with no appraisals required. I know because they insure my collection. If you have a minute, go to collectinsure.com and learn more about insuring your personal card or memorabilia collection.
Okay, we're back. Why don't we bring up Tom? Why don't you come up now? We want to talk to Tom. You guys know Tom, right? Tom Ruggie? No, but you're going to talk about our friend right now. There you go.
Wait a second. What am I going to do it live in front of the folks? All right, I'm going to do an ad. Am I going to do an ad?
You're going to do an ad. This is going to be like reading War and Peace.
Hold it. This is the longest ad you've ever seen in your life. Take a nap. Where's the little girl? You want one? Nice. Oh, I got it. All right, ready? JRI Cards, JM or Rico. If you want to have, If you want to have an absolute blast at obtaining some great modern vintage cards, folks, you got to check out JRI Cards. Our paisan Charlie, the Iron Ripper Perino, along with Money Marco, the Dollar Girls, and the JRI gang. Literally. No. Give you the chance to participate and open a graded, unopened, and sealed fresh wax or cello card pack of your favorite sport or non-favorite
Do we have
sport.
any more giveaways?
Wait a second.
Yeah, can we have some?
It's easy. You buy in. Charlie opens the pack. And you get a packed fresh card. It's
This
that
is like
simple.
listening to War and Peace.
As a matter of fact, if you pull that special jewel, the guys at JRI Cards will even have it graded for you on the house. Featured in the LA Times, ESPN, and USA Radio. Another whole page. JR is the hottest card pulling show on the internet. Charlie and his staff make it fun, entertaining, and enjoyable with this collection of hats and sound effects. And don't forget that JRI donates a part of their proceeds to various charities. That's JRI Cards. Check out their exclusive breaks and events that everyone is talking about. They're always digging up cardboard treasures. For a great hobby experience, go to jricards.com. Holy shit. I need oxygen.
Good man. Can I see that for a second? All right, Tom, here you go. Take this one. Mike, we're going to borrow your mic for a second. All right, say hi to Tom Ruggie. Right. From Destiny, what's the Destiny family office? Stand up. Yeah. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Really, really, really important if you have a collection. And Tom has a company that can really help you with your collection. Tom, why don't you tell us what it's all about, first of all?
Actually, I've been in the wealth management business for over 30 years, and about 7 years ago, I started a family office really to focus on working with people I wanted to work with, and that's defined by people that resonate with me. And we've really transitioned into developing a niche for working with people with large collections, because I've been a collector for almost 50 years myself, and very passionate about it. So it's really been a wonderful situation of the intersection between my passion for my business and passion for my collection.
Now, you're one of the guys that, the whole signed card hobby, you're one of the pioneers when it comes to that. Why don't you tell our audience, think about this collection that this gentleman has, 1952 Topps collection. Tell us about it.
Well, I'm just a pioneer because I'm old. I've been doing it since I was a kid. But I literally started collecting signed cards, hanging over a dugout at 6, 7 years old. Back in the day, you could literally climb on top of the dugout, hang over, and Reggie Jackson would come up and sign a card for you and stuff like that. But my collection consists of, I've been working on virtually every 50 set, Topps and Bowman, to get the entire set signed. And I'm within, as a generality, I'm within having the entire set signed by 10 cards or less.
Think about that, an entire 1952 Topps set signed.
Yeah, I'm missing 6 of the 52.
6 cards. Now. 6 cards he's missing. It's amazing.
I added 4 in the past year after not adding any for 2 years.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, so you're here for another reason, too. There was a documentary.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, so the screenings tonight for Dick Perez, official, or at least one-time official artist for the Baseball Hall of Fame, and he's having almost a 2-hour documentary done about his career, and I've gotten a chance to preview it. It's amazing if you're a fan of longtime baseball, because it literally uses his work of art from the very beginning of baseball all the way through to the current day, and that's a big part of my collection. I actually have about 45 Dick Perez original pieces of art.
We had Dick on a couple of weeks ago. What a nice guy.
Oh, he's a great guy.
Really is. You guys, you know Dick, right? You ever met him? Dick Perez? Just what a wonderful man, and he does such phenomenal work.
Well, he's 80-some years old, works every day. He's kind of exactly the way I want to be. I believe he will probably die with his paintbrush in his hand, and more power to him. His artwork's still amazing, and he's got a couple of projects that he's working on that'll, again, probably keep him busy. For the next 10 plus years, if
really?
God willing.
All right, so you don't have a booth here, but if people want to get in touch with you to chat about their own private collections, how do they do that?
It's DestinyFamilyOffice.com.
Destiny Family Office. Check it out. If you have a collection that has some value to it, it's really important that you not only have it insured, which is hugely important, but also, for your estate. You want to make plans for your estate. This is a gentleman that can do it.
Yeah, it's basically walking through the same process I walked through a couple years ago because, I've got a fairly large collection, and I came to the realization that my family didn't understand it and didn't know the value, and my situation, unfortunately, really didn't care. So literally just developed a process to have everything in place so that, God forbid, I don't make it home from Cleveland this week, that my family knows exactly what to do with my collection.
Awesome. Thanks so much for stopping by. How about it for Tom Ruggie? All right, we are chatting with Brian Dwyer, Joe Orlando, and Mike Heffner. As you guys know, maybe you don't know, my partner here who's throwing tension balls around the place, still has it. Rico played for the night, obviously three-time All-Star. Still overthrows it to first.
What'd you say?
Nothing. Rico played for the Red Sox, the 1967 Red Sox, and also the 1975 Red Sox. You guys made it to 2 World Series. And you hit 2 home runs in the 75 World Series.
No, I didn't. 67 series.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. 67 series. I made a mistake. Now, guys, you guys can share a mic because I want you to chip in here. No, Rico, this is we're going to talk to you now. So let's focus.
All right, go ahead.
All right. Bernie Cabo hit the home run that led to the Carlton Fisk home run.
Right.
Where were you in the dugout or were you on base?
No, I was on first base. They felt sorry for me. They walked me.
Did they really?
Yeah.
You had walked?
Me and Freddie Lynn was ahead of me. He walked, then I walked, then they made a change. And then Bernie Carbo came up the pinch hit against Raleigh Eastwick, and he hit the home run, center field.
So he doesn't get the credit because if he doesn't hit the home run, the Fisk home run never happens.
Well, that's right. But of course, but you can look at every game and see that. That's why, not one inning is more important than the other.
Where were you when Fisk hit the home run?
I was in the dugout. We jumped up. I almost hit my head on the dugout. They were small. And it was a big thrill. And we thought we'd never lose. After that, it was like fate. Yeah, fate.
Guys, chip in here.
Fate named Joe Morgan and Pete Rose. Great team. They had a great team, Cincinnati.
Yeah, but they didn't have much pitching.
Well, the pitching wasn't great, but it was good, Sparky went to the bullpen fast. He didn't waste time.
Who was their big gun? Do you guys remember?
Gullett.
Don Gullett. It was Don Gullett. You guys can share that one. Don Gullett, right?
Yes, Don Gullett. Threw hard.
Now, of the pitchers you faced, starting in 67, the top 4 pitchers that you ever faced, in order.
Sam McDowell.
In order?
Oh, no. In order, Nolan Ryan, Bob Gibson. Now, this is during the American League.
No.
Sandy Koufax and Juan Marichal.
Marichal, huh?
That's about 0 for 45.
So wait a second. What about Steve Carlton? Doesn't fit in?
Facing in spring training, but yeah, no, he had great stuff. His team won 57 games one year, and he won 27 games out of the 57.
Did he really?
That?
All right.
He's in the Hall of Fame.
Really? All right, so I want to ask you guys, talking about, you can give that back to Joe. All right, we talk modern, we talk vintage. Has vintage, really good vintage stuff, lost any of its steam?
No, I think vintage stuff, like I think Joe said before, the modern stuff actually helps the vintage stuff pick up momentum. I know the modern stuff is a little bit down, but the vintage stuff, especially like the signed cards and things, are up. There's certain elements, even the photographs. I was talking to somebody about this, the vintage photographs, the Type 1s. I know there was just some article written that I got a kick out of that said they're overpriced. And, I was talking to somebody today, vintage photographs, Type 1s, Satchel Paige Type 1 photograph from 1948 is maybe $1,000, but his rookie card is $5,000 in terrible condition. So, there's certain segments of the hobby that are really still undervalued, and that being one of them. And I just got a kick out of how some people, they just pick something out of the air and say this is a soft point in the hobby. But really, I think everything is pretty strong right now.
Joe, you're seeing, Brian, both of you guys, are you seeing more memorabilia or more on the card end as far as action?
I mean, look, with cards, look, I've collected pretty much everything like these guys in their lives. Cards make up a larger percentage of the overall collecting base because of just the sheer volume of it.
Because there's so many of them.
But both segments, look, over the past several years, virtually every sports category I can think of has had its moment in the sun. And look, every market, this is one lesson I would love a lot of the younger collectors to learn is, look, every market moves up and down. That's what a market is. That's okay. But on the vintage side, the really good stuff, high quality, blue chip type material, that stuff has the ability to hold up. Even when the general market is declining, the really great stuff tends to hold up.
I hope you young investors or you young collectors are listening to what he said, because it's very, very important. I know you guys all collect modern cards, but if you're gonna stay in this hobby, right, put a few shekels aside and try to invest in some really good quality vintage pre-war cards. You don't have to buy a 1933 Babe Ruth PSA 8. You can get a 1933 whatever for a few bucks, maybe a few $100. That card, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, that card is not going to go down in value. It's like owning a blue chip stock. It's like owning AT&T, IBM, any one of those, Microsoft. It's going to steadily increase. Now, that's not to say don't invest and don't buy and flip modern cards, because I know you have a lot of fun doing it. But with that part of the hobby, sometimes you're going to hit a home run, sometimes you're going to hit into a triple play. So you just got to be careful. Am I right there, Brian?
Yeah, and I echo a lot of what these guys said, obviously, but I think some of the newer collectors assume that they can buy something and flip it immediately. And it's like, if you have a 20-day, 30-day timeline, that's when you're going to lose money. And that's when you're going to say,
absolutely,
the market's down, this is terrible. If you sit on this for a year, 5 years, 10 years, I mean, massive gains we've seen in some of these big cards.
I honest to God, and this is the truth, and by the way, we're going to have one more giveaway in a few minutes. There were cards that I bought, T206 cards that I bought back in late 80s that I paid $20 for, $25 for. And those cards, they went up to values of $600, $700, $800, $900, and they were mid-grade to high-grade PSA graded cards. But they were, there was nothing special about them, but it was just a good investment. And I think that's really, really important for you young investors and all of that. All right, Heff, you got some, what do you got in your auction? What do you got going right now?
We have an auction coming up in the fall, but we have some neat pieces on display over at the booth. not necessarily in the auction, but we have a 1948 Satchel Paige game-worn jersey hanging on the display case, which is the only known Satchel Paige Major League jersey, to the best of my knowledge. There may be another one out there, but it's from his rookie year championship season. We have some neat, we have a really nice Babe Ruth ball for the next auction. It's just a staple. Ruth Gehrig stuff. Some great bats. We have a Jimmy Fox MVP award. I know there's one in the room, but we have the other one that he got for the other year. I forget what year it is. 33, I believe. 33 one also. Yeah. So we have a 33. So we have some really neat stuff coming up, but. We also have stuff for private sale over there. We're one of the auction houses that sells stuff privately, too, so.
Cool. Joe, you guys have, listen, if you guys haven't been to the Heritage exhibit, you're missing something. Because I know you got Brian here and you got Heff here, but I think this year you guys have what can possibly the most valuable piece of sports memorabilia ever in a convention here. If you want to see a museum piece, you want to go by the Heritage Auctions exhibit, and they are auctioning off well, you tell them.
So, later on in August 23rd through the 25th, we have a 3-night summer platinum auction. It's the first time we're doing 3 nights, and it's because of what you said. The stars kind of aligned for us with the great support from our consigners, and there's just so much amazing material in this auction, and a lot of those highlights are over at the booth. So, of course, it's headlined by the 1932 called shot jersey, where Babe Ruth hit the home run at Wrigley Field against the Cubs, where he, of course, called his shot. It's debated. It's imitated, but it's
something, that's just, whether it's debated or not, the fact is that there's so much history now behind that piece and behind that moment, really doesn't matter.
That's exactly right. It's become part of almost like pop culture. And, I was thinking about it, as a collector myself, and I thought to myself, as a Ruth fan, as a Ruth collector, if I could dream up a piece, anything, and he accomplished so much in his career, what would the one piece be? And I really thought about it. It's probably that jersey. And the reason is because I think no single item better encapsulates who he was both on and off the field in terms of his larger-than-life persona, and just the fact that, if it were a guy to call the shot, of course it would be Babe Ruth, right? And so it's not only the performance on the field and the numbers and all of that, it's what he did in the moment. It's that sort of fairy tale character.
Couldn't agree with you more. Yeah. Brian, you've had, REA has sold how many Wagners over the course of your career?
I think I've handled about a dozen of them.
12 Honus Wagner cards this gentleman has sold. That's pretty impressive, man. What are your highlight items right now going on?
Yeah, so our auction's open now through August 11th. We have, lot number 1, it's the first time in 15 years that a Willie Mays rookie card in an 8.5 or higher has come to auction. So we're pretty excited about that. And then there's almost 800 lots at our booth. It runs the gamut. We've got jerseys, tickets, photos, autographs, cards, 19th century, modern. So there's a really good mix of stuff over at our booth and in the current auction.
Very cool. All right, we're going to take a quick break, literally a quick break. When we come back, we're going to give away a trivia. There'll be a trivia question to give away our last book. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
Pristine Auction is a family-owned and operated online auction specializing in autographed memorabilia, sports cards, coins, art, and collectibles. Since their founding in 2010, they've grown to 2 facilities in Phoenix, Arizona, totaling over 60,000 square feet. Jared Cavalier and an incredible staff of over 150 team members serve a very large customer base and enjoy every minute of it. By working with leading authentication companies, Pristine ensures all items are 100% authentic. In addition, third-party authenticators regularly travel to Pristine Auction to provide authentication services on site. Pristine Auction strives to operate its business in a way that's honoring to God, their families, and their customers. With a strong focus on speed, quality, and premier customer service, their mission is to be the leading online auction for every level of collector and fan. Pristine also works for Hope Sports and Identity Hoops International, traveling to Mexico to build houses for the less fortunate. Pristine Auction offers several online auction formats with thousands of auctions ending each day. For more information, go to pristineauction.com. That's Pristine Auction, the best in the business.
For more than 30 years, Robert Edward Auctions has been the industry leader when it comes to helping you realize the most money for your baseball cards and sports memorabilia. In addition to their unparalleled reputation for honesty and integrity, they reach the largest number of bidders in the business and offer lower seller's fees, as well as generous cash advances up front on your valuable material. Contact them today at 908-226-9900. That's 908-226-9900 or at robertedwardauction.com.
If you're a discerning collector interested in owning the most important pieces in the hobby, look no further than Leland's Auctions. The original sports auction and appraisal house, Leland's was established in 1985 by legendary Pioneer founder Joshua Leland Evans. And today, President Mike Heffner carries on their tradition. From the Tom Brady card and memorabilia collection to the famed Boston Garden auction to high-end card auctions from every major sport, Leland's has always maintained the highest standards. Go to Lelands.com and get your bid in. That's Leland's, the hobby's leading sports auction house for 4 decades.
How would you like to own the bat that was used by your favorite player when he hit that towering home run or game-winning base hit? Now look no further than JT Sports, specializing in the sale and authentication of professional game-used bats. As the official authenticators of professional model game-used bats for PSA DNA, JT Sports will guarantee the authenticity of any bat purchased from them. JT Sports also buys and sells game-worn uniforms, gloves, and baseball equipment. The unique quality of the collectible is what JT Sports is all about. Give them a call at 609-487-8003 or check them out at GameUsedBats.com.
Are you a collector looking for that rare trading card or autographed ball or photo? If so, then PB Collectables in Newport is the place for you. PB Collectables has graded cards, raw cards, complete sets, and wax boxes of the stars of the future, today, and from the past. We also offer a large selection of both vintage and modern cards. So whether you're looking to add to your collection or sell it, visit us at PB Collectables, 269 Spring Street in Newport, located across from St. Mary's Church. We are your neighborhood card shop and much more.
Hey, I'm Mike Petrocelli. If your company is looking for the best in marketing and promotional items, you'll hit a home run with Petrocelli Marketing. With over 8,000 suppliers and 650,000 imprint-ready items, we can get your company the visibility it needs to get your maximum exposure. Whether it be office promotions, wearables, automotive, sports items, and everything in between, Petrocelli Marketing can do it all. Our design staff will even work with you from concept to delivery and customize your products. At Petrocelli Marketing Group, we will get your brand in front of your audience. Contact us at info@petrocellimkt.com or call us at 603-880-3202. That's Petrocelli Marketing, where no dream is impossible.
Okay, we're back. This book means a lot to me personally because for some reason this book was a blast to write. I know I have one. This book was written by Ellen and I along with John Mallory and Crackerjack historian Jim Davis, and the forward and tremendous contributions were made by this gentleman, Joe Orlando. This book is called The Crackerjack Collection, Baseball's Prize Players, and this won the silver medal. We were awarded the silver medal by the Independent Publishing Company. So here's the question, but I got to get a confirmation on something. All right. So this question, I know. In 1970, whatever, Rico Petrocelli was an all-star shortstop for the Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox had an opportunity to get Ron Santo, and the deal fell through, so they had to move Rico to third base. This is an easy question, hands up quick. Who do the Red Sox bring in to replace Rico Petrocelli at shortstop? Come on, this is an easy one. Who? No. Who did the Red Sox bring in? They moved Rico to third base, and I think were you an all-star as a third baseman? Were you an all-star as a third baseman? You weren't, or were you? Oh, that's right. Yes. I don't know if you guys know this, but when he was like, how many times? 4? 5 times he was elected to the All-Star team, but he's only a 2-time All-Star because the Red Sox wouldn't let them go. Back then, teams would say yes or no, so he got chosen 5 times, but they only let him go twice. Okay, come on. Who was the player that they brought into shortstop and they moved Rico to third? Oh, okay. Is that what you said? Aparicio, Louis Aparicio. Here you go. Hall of Famer Louis Aparicio, who, by the way, was about 112 years old when he replaced you. Did he really? Yeah. Oh, yeah, Rico's claim to fame, and we give him a hard time about this. Rico, can you give him that mic just for 1 second, Mike? Here.
What?
Okay, so I don't know if you guys know this, but Rico,
come on,
you've had some great straights.
Let's go.
No, this is good.
Want?
Rico was the first player in American League history to hit 40 home runs, held a record as a shortstop until it was broken by A-Rod. Rico also had a really nice hitless streak of 0 for 32.
All right.
Right?
Yeah, it was more like me.
Now, who did you get the hit off of when you
Robin Roberts.
How old was he?
Great pitcher.
How old was he?
67. They went. Yeah, no, he was.
Did you hit a home run?
You crazy? I got jammed. Got jammed and went over the shortstop's head.
All right, and one other question. Would you hurry up and throw it, please?
No, go ahead. That's fun. I'm having fun.
The knuckleballer.
Lloyd Hoyt Wilhelm, yeah. Hall of Famer. Hey, where you going?
You hit a home run off of him, right?
I'm going. Yeah, my rookie year.
And what happened?
Nothing.
Did he give you a hard time?
No, he was very nice. Swore at me all around the bases.
As he's rounding the bases.
You know why?
Hoyt Wilhelm is swearing at him.
He's a great knuckleball, right? So it gets to 3 and 2, and I'm a kid, this is 65, 165 pounds. And what does he throw 3 and 2? 74-mile-an-hour fastball. My eyes are like this. Bang! Home run! Hey. Oh, I'm so happy. And he used to be like this. Hey, when you got up, you had to be like this way, so you could see the ball. But he was swearing at me all around. You'll never get another fastball, you bum.
All right, one other question. When you grew up a Brooklyn Dodgers fan, but you idolized Mickey Mantle growing up. So now you're a rookie. Weren't you a rookie? You're a rookie, and you got walked. And Mantle's playing first base.
Yeah,
Mickey Mantle is your idol.
He was my idol. I said, oh, my God.
So what happened?
What do I do? I want to say hello to him. You know, geez, what if he tells me to take a hike, kid? You know, and so I'm on first base, ball one, took a lead, ball one, and then I came back. I said, should I say hello now? But, you know, again, what if he really gets pissed off at me, the opposition? So I take another lead, ball 2. I said, this is it, 2-0, good hitting count. If I don't do it now, I'll never do it. So I went to say, hi, Mickey, and I didn't. And he turned around and he says, hi, Rico, how you doing? And I said, not too bad, Mick. That's right. Right. Well, what the hell? I was nervous to say anything. You had to be there to laugh.
All right, listen, I've got a question for you guys regarding today's ball players versus, and we talked about this in the first hour, could guys like Cobb or Keela, Lajoie, forget Ruth, forget Garrett, could some of those players play in today's game?
I don't think there's any doubt about it. They definitely could. I mean, the game is obviously faster paced, and the both offense and defense are different. But those guys were, I don't mean to put down the players of today, but those guys were men. Like, those guys were rough and tumble. And I think the question is, could some of the players that play today play back then? Because it was a different game. I mean, the rules were the same, but, there was no messing around.
Joe?
Yeah, a few years ago, and I can't remember which pitcher it was in the major leagues, but they were asking this pitcher whether Babe Ruth could hit in today's game. And, of course, the pitcher, in my opinion, very ignorantly, oh, no way. There's no way he would get that bat around, this and that. But here's the thing. The players back then, they didn't have the advantage of what we have now with nutrition and, right. all the training that goes into it and the advancements in the bat itself. Of course, Babe Ruth wouldn't be using a 42-ounce bat if
right.
he played today. He'd be
So you're saying that any one of those players, if they had today's equipment, training, all of that, they could easily play today.
The elite guys, for sure. Because they're, again, it's unfair. I've always felt it's very unfair to compare players from different generations, although we all love to do it because it's fun to do. But I think it's a real sort of disservice to the greats of the past to say, oh, well, this guy couldn't hold up today.
Good point.
You have to look at it in context. And they were some of these guys, Cobb, Ruth, they were so great in their era that, of course, physically, if they were playing today with the advancements, technology, all that stuff, they could do it, in my opinion.
Right?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, their stat lines wouldn't be the same, but I mean, the advanced scouting, the technology that these guys have today, those guys would be able to hold their own, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think I agree with the three of you there. What about the wrestlers today, Heff? Could the wrestlers today compete with Bruno Sammartino or Haystacks Calhoun? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's just like we just talked about the baseball guys. I mean, there's so much more training. Wrestling has changed so much over the years. It used to be a really slow sport, and now it's a really fast, high-flying, it used to be more about the holds and the stuff on the mat. Now it's up on the ropes.
I'm going back to Toro Tanaka.
I do not know. I honestly don't know. I think it's the opposite. I don't know if those guys could compete against today's wrestlers.
I mean, they are. I mean, the roids are a lot better today too. I mean, I would have to say. I've asked this question on the show to the three of you, and I still don't have a real feel for the answer. Pre-war cards, very valuable. What about those, I call them the tweeners, the post-war cards, Hall of Famers, guys like Al Kaline, Frank Robinson, Hank Aaron. Those cards, for whatever reason, they're all great cards, they're great investments, but are they in a little different category as far as the elite cards versus the 33 Gaudis and Gehrig's and Cobbs and those? Do they not get a lot of love, or is it my imagination? Brian, go ahead.
No, I mean, I think there's tiers to every segment of the hobby, right? So there's going to be some of these Aaron Mantle cards that they're just never going to go out of style. I think you and I have talked about how set builders' tastes have changed over the years, and that second, third tier of Hall of Famer, it doesn't get the love that maybe they used to, and maybe long term they'll be kind of stagnant. But yeah, I mean the hobby loves the Cracker Jacks, T206s, Gaudis, 52 tops, but there's a lot of great stuff to collect.
I think so too, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Brian. There's no question that there are levels to, if you want to call them brands in the hobby, Jackie Robinson, Mickey Mantle, these are brands, Willie Mays. There's a difference between those guys and then everybody else, but I'll put kind of a different spin on this. You started to kind of go down the road of pre-war versus cards later. I mean, I can tell you right now, if you look at some of the prices for cards that are in the 1970s, they're exploding, some in high grade.
Well, I was going to ask you that, because that generation now is...
Right.
They're buying.
That's, Mike and I mean, when we were growing up, those are the cards that we remember. So for the, in the hobby, I think this is true of really every collectible field, there's a generational cycle. So for the next 20 or 30 years, guys that are in their, 50s now, that's nostalgia for us. So you're starting to see 1970s material, both unopened, set building. I mean, we had a number of 1975 Topps commons in PSA 10s in our last auction in July, sell between $10,000 and $20,000
Petrocelli,
a piece.
this is a perfect example talking about what you're talking about. A Petrocelli, wasn't even a rookie card, 1968, 69, PSA 10s worth of $12,000. Rico and I looked at each other, but it's a set builder. Right, it's all set building. I mean, so that's huge. That's huge. Okay, so the cards, those 70s cards, going into the 80s, the Wade Boggses, those, are they going to follow suit?
I mean, I'll go first, I guess. So I think there's definitely a break. Once you get around 1980, there's a break because that's when the hobby started to explode. There's a lot more material once you start getting into the 1980s in terms of quantity produced, quantity saved, unopened, and all that stuff. So it remains to be seen. But some of those items, it depends what they are. Clearly, the Michael Jordan rookie card is 1986 Fleer, and it's still selling for around $200,000 in a PSA 10. That has held up really well because, again, he's an icon, and there's so much demand for his rookie card. So once you get past 1980, it's a little bit
it gets a little shaky.
But we'll see as time goes on. There's no doubt, though, I think the 70s material.
How many people here collect cards from the 70s? Baseball from the 70s. One? No, you got a couple there. How about the 80s? 90s? 2000s? Most of the kids. Are there any real vintage collectors here? I know there's a couple. Now, what do you guys mean by vintage? That young boy right there with the, how far back do you go? 60s. You go to tobacco? Well, see, there's a good investor. You're doing it right, kiddo. You're doing it right. Listen to this kid. Go chat with him. Vintage really, really balances a portfolio. It really does. And I've gotten rid of most of my cards because I'm getting into memorabilia now because of you guys. Really.
I got a question. You folks may be wondering, where does vintage start? Or, where do we start? You know what I mean? We think in terms of, where does it end? No, we think in terms of 1902, 1904. But going up, where does it end?
What is considered vintage now, Mike?
I mean, in my opinion, I'm sure many people can argue this, and it's nothing definitive, but my opinion is prior to 1980 now is vintage.
That's wild.
Because, 1980 is sort of right before the whole boom. It's pre, I almost look at, the Ricky Henderson rookie card. That's the last really valuable card of the modern era. It sells for $100,000 or more in a 10. And, stuff past that, unless we're talking about Michael Jordan or something like that, it doesn't quite carry the value. So my vintage now, it used to be pre-1970, but I've raised it up to pre-1980.
You agree with that, guys, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, when we think about it, we break it down into 4 tiers. 19th century, 1900 to 1941, 45, post-45, 48 to about 1980, like Mike said. Then 1980 onward, right now, we think of as modern. Last couple of years, we might think of as current.
Gotcha.
But, yeah.
Joe?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. The one thing I'll say that's kind of interesting is some people, when we get calls from consigners, all 3 of us, some people think because the card is now older, so a card from, 1984, 85, I mean, it's an older card now. It's a 40-year-old card, which is hard to imagine, right? But it's not the age. To me, I think that break will always stay the same. And the reason is that, as Mike alluded to, the hobby started to explode for the first time in the 80s. So production changed. People started to protect their cards more.
Right.
So there's just more stuff. That isn't going to change 100 years from now. It's still going to be, that's still going to be a fact. So to me, I don't think that what we're talking about, this strict definition of vintage, changes no matter how much time goes by. It's based on what happened at that break.
Interesting. Don't forget now, today's show is a 2-hour show, and it's being pre-recorded, and we'll be airing on Wednesday night. Great American Collectibles show is on every Wednesday. You can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, listen to us on Spotify, Podbean, all those platforms. We're also on WCAP up in the Boston area. Wednesday night show is going to feature, it'll be the first hour of this show, and then a week from Wednesday we're going to be airing the second hour. Love for you guys to join us. We've been very, very, very blessed with our following. This is our 8th year. REA, if you want to check out their exhibit or go to their website, what's your website address?
RobertEdwardAuctions.com.
RobertEdwardAuctions.com. If you want to take a peek at the 1932 Called Shot jersey, take a walk over to the Heritage exhibit. Joe, what is your website address?
Yeah, if you want to go directly to sports, it's sports.ha.com.
Sports.ha.com. And Leland's, one of the pioneers. And by the way, these 3 guys have been with us since day one. I remember when we had Josh on every other week. We'd have Josh on one week and then Ken Golden on the second week. It was like, oh my God. They took turns every other week. Half your website address?
It's Lelands.com.
Lelands.com. On behalf of Rico Petrocelli, Red Sox Hall of Famer, and myself, Tom Zappala, we can't thank you guys enough for sharing the last couple of hours with us. And to each and every one of you, make wide decisions and happy collecting. Thank you very much.